Hello and welcome to another episode of Children Playing with Their Computers.
AKA Intune Training.
Intune.training. This is Adam and Steve, and we're here to have a good time.
Yeah, we are.
Well, I was just teasing about the intro, but yeah, we're leaving it. So hey,
Yeah.
we are here today to talk about local users and groups management with Intune.
Yep.
I think we've covered this previously when it first came out, and it didn't work well or something maybe. And so I don't know if we actually released a video on it.
I don't know if we did.
Yeah, we intended to. And anyway, this week I was working around this, we were trying to build out some policies around local and local user and group management. There you go. And so I got a little bit to share around that on just kind of some lessons learned on this, and maybe even some feedback we can send to Microsoft on how to possibly make it better. Maybe they'll listen. We'll see. So, well, what do you think, Steve?
They might listen.
Will they listen? Maybe. I mean, you work for Microsoft. Why don't you go tell them for me, please? Yeah, every time. That's what I get every time. All right, maybe. Here we go. We're gonna jump right in.
Yes, we are.
All right,
gonna do it quick.
I've got a thing right here.
All right, let me share the screen. There we go.
There. All right. So jumping right in. Let's go under. So we're in the Intune portal, and we're going to go to endpoint security. There's a section down here called
account. So we're going endpoint security. So it's not even going to be under device configuration. Interesting.
No. These are definitely security related things, which also means that your security guys can manage things in this node. So don't let them do these unless you train them well.
AKA so keep an eye on making sure if they're added or not, because they may impact your devices.
Possibly, I don't know. So we're selecting local groups and I'm not going to get it. Local
users and
groups demo. All right.
So local groups and users.
Keep it up.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So first of all, if you click on this and you can go to learn more, it'll take you to this policy CSP reference. So what you may see here is that, all right, so this is our normal place where we're looking at most of their Intune policies. And so local users and groups is one of two ways that you can manage your local groups. And they have another one here, restricted groups, configure group membership. So the main thing about them, and they have a nice note right here. The other one only allows for full replace of existing groups with new members, and doesn't allow for selective add or remove. And so now you can use the local.
I think you glossed over the important point there, though, Adam, is from 20H2, it's recommended to use the local users and groups instead of restricted groups. So if you're on anything more than 20H2, use local users and groups. If you're using restricted groups, have a review and get them converted over.
Yep. So the important, so number one, this document covers a bunch of things on how to build out your policy, and it's very possible that there's things in here that things that we're going to cover today that's already covered in the docs.
Definitely.
But
as always,
I would hope some of it is in there. But there are some lessons learned here that I feel like are worthwhile. And here we go. Look at this. Actually, this is one of them right here, Steve. That's why I was scrolling real fast. So when using the replace option to configure the built-in administrators group, it is required to always specify the administrator as a member plus any other custom members. This is because the built-in administrator must always be a member of the administrators group. So
correct.
This right here is a very important thing, because you will find that your policy just won't work if you don't have this in there. So anyway, that was one of the things I wanted to cover. So I wanted to point that out, because when I was originally testing this stuff using the XML and deploying a custom CSP, I ran into that. And then we were starting to use the nice GUI for it, and just kind of oblivious to that fact and not seeing it as much. And it wasn't obvious that, you need to do this here.
Does the GUI automatically add the administrator account?
It does not.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So that's kind of the deal here. That's why we're talking about it, because there's some nuance here that just isn't obvious and doesn't quite work right. So yeah, so let's poke at it and see what happens. So first of all, you get access to these local groups, and now you can bulk add
the part
to
that I'm
multiples.
laughing about is power users. For those that are actually listening, power users doesn't actually do anything. It's just a random local group now.
Yeah, but you could tell your users, oh no, I've added you a power user. You're a power user.
True. You're a power user.
Mm-hmm,
you don't get any additional privileges.
Yep.
Or minimal.
So
asterisk there, obviously.
There you go. Okay, so then you have 3 actions. You have an add update, a remove update, and a add replace. So
can I just do a remove everybody except?
No.
Oh.
You have to. So you have to well, it's weird because you could by doing an add replace.
True.
If you do an add replace, that means remove everybody except the people that I give you. But then the remove update would selectively remove people and leave everybody else who's there, and the add update would leave everybody who's in and add anybody you specify.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. All right. So we've got a scenario where we have about we've got about 25 or so Active Directory sites, and each of those sites has a local administrators group that has the local support personnel in those groups as administrators. And
so basically what you're saying is you're doing like site by site local admin, and you don't want an overlap.
Exactly. Right. So if you work at headquarters, or sorry, if you have a device that is homed to headquarters, and if we're looking at AD structure, you're in the AD site for headquarters, then I only want the headquarters administrators group members to have admin rights to those workstations. And then if you are at another facility, you don't get, you can't have admin rights to those. So that helps, at least limit the impact of your administrative rights to just the devices that you're responsible for.
Makes sense.
So anyway, we were looking through this saying, okay, we want to build out a template, and how do we do this? And can we do overlap? And, how would we manage this? So unfortunately, you can't really create a base policy. You can only target one policy at a time. So you, just like any of the other Intune policies, they're going to conflict with each other. This is not an additive thing. I can't make multiple policies and target multiple policies to the same machine.
So you couldn't turn around and say, well, what I'm going to do is add with one and then remove with another.
Yeah, that as an example, yes. Yep. And you also, there's even, so built into the UI here, you can't do this. I can't do an add update and an add replace in the same deal. Now it's going to, let me show you that. It's going to give us an error message when we do it. It should. You have to select users before it will then tell us that we can't do what we're trying to do, I believe. So there we go. So we can't have, there you go. So this is the error message I was trying to generate here. So the same local group, the same group cannot be used for both an add replace and an add update or remove update. So you can't do replace and update in the same. That's the deal. But additionally, if I wanted to do, so here's the challenge. So let's back up. On every Azure AD joined machine, you get 2 SIDs added to local administrators.
On that, Adam. Hang on, let me. Oh, it's not too bad. The Zoom would be nice. Cool.
Wow, that did Windows Plus within the VM. So cool. Yeah. All right. Well, you get the idea. So local administrators has an administrator, but then it also has these 2 SIDs. Now, hopefully this isn't new information for most folks on this, but it could be. So let me do Windows minus. There we go. Hey, Windows Plus to the rescue again. So Jeff Gilbert, who's been on the channel with us before, previously has written this nice lengthy blog on really kind of detailing what we're going to cover here. This was before this feature was released, but the one he talks through about the SIDs in here and how they represent the Azure AD Global Administrators Group and the Azure AD Device Administrators Group, and those are configurable settings within your Azure portal. All right, so I'm going to just show that while we're there.
Sounds good. So what you're saying with this, Adam, is I could turn around and go, you know what, I don't trust those pesky global admins. I'm going to remove their privileges. But what I'm going to do is have a separate AAD group that gives privileges as required.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
So let's see. I believe it's here under device settings. All right.
So it's
here you
got
go.
a little bit more flexibility than the traditional domain admin group where it was like, yeah, don't ever remove that off a client.
It's funny because we did that long ago. We took domain admins off all our workstations long ago. Yeah.
And no problems?
No. Those guys don't know how to manage computers. Come on.
They only know how to do the identity, not the computers.
Yeah. Okay, so if you've never been here before, go here. So this is additional local administrators on Azure AD. So like I mentioned, so global administrators already makes it there. And then this group, if you add people this way, this adds additional people to the Azure AD Device Administrators group. So that's what going there does. It's just a way to get you to the same.
It's a baked-in group,
right? So a different way to get there is to go to your roles in Azure AD and get here as well. But just if you're managing devices, this is kind of an easy way to help you pinpoint the right group for that. So point being, that group has a SID associated with it, and we'll show you how to get those SIDs. So global administrators and device administrator are the ones that we're looking at. So if we go back down here, just the other way around. Oh, is it not?
Device. Well,
it's not listed in here.
It should be.
No.
Might be cloud device.
Full access to managed device. Maybe. That's not the same group we were just in. Maybe that is the only way to get to it is back through the devices node. That seems weird. I thought I'd seen it this way before. Well, regardless, we showed you the right way, a way to get there successfully. So let's do that.
Exactly.
Okay. So the reason that matters is we need to have the SID of those, or we need to have those two SIDs, the ones that are here, the global administrator and the device administrator SID, as well as administrator. So
I don't see there's going to be any problem just like hand jamming that out.
Just I'm right. I think we could get it. How many attempts are we going to go through to get that? I can't copy those out and everything. Now we could technically.
I reckon if we do net use AD,
we could probably do this. I didn't actually try this, but I think this is a way to do it. But I want to know which SID is which too. So so we could get local group members. I think. Come on, local group member group. Administrators. Well, okay. That didn't work. Well, clearly I'm not going to get my PowerShell commands correct at this point. Get local group. That's not.
It'll be name. Yeah, yep.
S. Spell it wrong. S.
S.
Of course it is. Get.
Member, no S.
We're clearly using this wrong. Okay,
wow.
So that's maybe. You have to pass in the member, not the. Okay. I don't understand what we're doing wrong there. Anyway, we have a different way to do this, thanks to Oliver. So I'm not going to sit here and keep typing PowerShell wrong. I know I've done this before. Okay, so let's go over to Graph Explorer. So aka.ms/ge gets you to Graph. Remember to click the little dude over here to sign yourself in.
It's moved.
keep forgetting that. This is the URL that you're going to use. Steve, you can do that cool thing in this new StreamYard stuff and just like make that banner show on the screen for that URL. Okay, so what we're wanting to get is when we query graph to get directory roles, all we're getting is just these IDs, and there's no SID listed here, and we're not going to find a SID. So what we need to do is grab the SID for global administrators, and then we want to go find the other one here. So we can do Control F in this window and look for device administrator. So yeah, it doesn't actually give us the other one.
Nope.
I don't know but we can get that here. Let's go back.
Wasn't there as Azure AD? This is where we should have probably prepared a little bit more.
We were preparing for like an hour. I thought we had this, but okay. So check it out. We can get the object ID, role name, template ID. Let's see if the up here admin unit is it gonna give us. This could possibly be it. Let's see if that translates. Okay, so we know we have one at least. So Oliver Kisselbeck. Oliver, one day I'll hear you say your name the right way.
Is
I know I'm not
Azure AD Joint Device Local Administrator. So if you go back to roles,
thank you,
and then we go to Azure AD Device Joined Device, because it's just
thank you. I knew I've been here before. Okay, it did not. This was not the same name when we went the other way.
Yep.
Okay, that's why. Okay, fair enough. There it is. Thank you, Steve. Steve was building a lab while I was testing this stuff. And all right, here we go. All right, so now we got two GUIDs. Got those two IDs. And we are now going to, so Oliver has this nice blog on converting Azure AD object IDs to SIDs and from SIDs. And ultimately, he walks through it and everything. We're not going to go through all that. You can go and check it all out on his website. And ultimately, we get this nice, we took us to his GitHub repo and we grabbed the script. And it's really simple. He's just simply converting to a byte array and doing a conversion on this. So we took that and we already have piped that into our PowerShell window. And so this is the SID or the GUID of the global administrator and a role. And then this one.
Adam's just copying that and pasting it into his notepad.
Yes, typing really, really fast. Okay, so now let's go. Let's do a side-by-side window here of those as we jump back into this hot mess.
And we'll zoom in a little bit.
Got this one that says 209.
So Windows Plus.
Yeah, I know. Hang on, I'm getting there.
Make sure you do it inside the VM, not the
Windows Plus. There we go.
Cool.
All right, so we have 209 as the second one here, and then we got the 414, 414. All right, so that's our two groups, and so we know that worked, that we got the right things. So now we just need to take those over to our new, so I'm going to move those to the other screen so I can copy them in. And so if you're going to do this, if you're going to do an add replace, what we just did is necessary. Add replace on the administrators group. Full. Yep. That's the full thing. The rest, if you're going to do add update or add replace remove update, you don't need this. Not necessarily anyway. Okay, so then here's the fun bit. So you can't use the user selection of users and groups because you can't go select the Azure AD local device administrators group. That's not a thing. It's not a selectable item by name. It has to. We have to put it in as a SID that to send into the policy. So we will have to switch over to use manual. And what this means is that everything, in order to use this policy and do a replace on the group, you're going to have to build everything manually in the manual entry and won't be able to use the user selection option. One additional reason for what we're doing is this is a local group membership enforcement mechanism. So this keeps people from adding additional users to local administrators and having them stay there. You can't put users in there. It won't prevent you from putting them, but it helps police it. So when the policy reapplies, it will police it and rip anybody out who doesn't belong. So that's the goal here, is we want to make sure that only the people that we want are in that group. So in order for this to work, we have to make sure that we put administrator in. If you don't, this will fail. The policy just won't apply. I've been down that path. The docs even said it. So the docs have proven it. They've definitely said it. Now, you will also still continue to get an error in your event log, much like this. If I go here and I attempt to remove administrator, I do Control plus in there again, Windows plus in there. If I just try to remove administrator and hit apply, I get this nice message. Cannot perform this operation on built-in accounts. You will see this error message appear in the event log for when the policy is applying as well. So just know that. All right. So then what we want to do is we want to say, okay, so you can add either a username, which we've done. That's the local username, or we want to add a domain username for whether it's a domain user or a Azure AD user, or we can go ahead and put in a SID. Now, Steve, if I wanted to add a group to this, how would I add a group? What would you think would be the right thing to do? Aha.
SID.
Okay. Why?
Because I have knowledge and I know that we don't have a domain/group name option in the list. It's only username.
Good. All right. There you go. We tested it. We tested it today, and it definitely doesn't work. So, yeah, you're correct, sir. Okay. Now, if we had an on-prem domain, such as like IT/, we would put a regular, like you're used to for regular domain joined machines. But if you're going to do this for Azure AD joined machines, what do I put for my domain, Steve?
Azure AD /
Azure AD / what?
The SID, I believe. No, the UPN.
Aha, yes. So that's the proper format for putting a user in. So it doesn't matter what your on-prem, what your cloud domain stuff is. This is the proper structure for it. And any invalid entries will actually just be ignored. So I'm going to leave that one in just for kicks. And we're going to go ahead and hit save on this, or hit OK. So now all of those, so we're going to add, so we're getting the administrator plus the two built-in roles, because if we don't put these in, this process will remove these. And if you don't put this one in, it just won't work. And then we're going to add net new on these guys. Okay. So I don't have a group to go add, or a local user to add. Let me do that. So if I add a new user test and just hit create, I think that works. And then I can go add them to administrators. I know you can't see this well. I didn't zoom.
Secure password there, Adam, being blank.
Yep. Hey, I'm just trying to get us there. Okay, so now we've got a new non good user there, somebody that we don't want. Okay, so here's the other bit. The thing I found today was if you try to do another add replace, because we have group names of groups that we wanted to use, instead of having to go look up a SID, we wanted to just say, hey, we want to add a group in as a thing. This lets you, and yet
the XML doesn't actually create it, spawning them together.
It does. The XML, it's all there. It doesn't process it. It puts them in two different sections, and you get two replaces in there, and it doesn't work. Okay, so I'm just going to do add all devices because none of our machines are online right now anyway. So we're just going to hit one during this. Okay.
Sure. Don't do what we do.
Yeah, exactly. That. Whatever Steve said. I don't have company portal on here for some reason.
So that's not my problem.
I don't know either.
Raise a support ticket. Our support engineer may get back to you when he's back on deck and in the office.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to hit sync on this, and then zoom level. There we go. Look at that. Oh, look at that. I could just zoom the VM. Even better.
Yep.
Learning as we go. All right. So we're going to go in the event viewer and see if we can find these events showing up. And it's worth noting that just like any other policy that we're going to get, these policies will show. By the way, I know it's a little blurry. The zoom makes it blurry, but
it's not too bad.
So HK Local Machine software, Microsoft Policy Manager. We'll go to current device, and then as this policy applies, we will see it show up here as a thing. So we won't even bother looking anywhere until we get that sorted. And hopefully it works. Maybe.
Look at that.
And while it's going, I'm going to drill into here. So this will all be under the device management, enterprise diagnostics provider, admin, and then there we go. Let's see. This isn't the entry, I don't believe. That is, actually, I know that's not the entry.
That's fake policy.
Yeah, that's the other one. You can search here for local users and groups will be the name. So essentially in the log, you can search for the CSP entry.
CSP 9.
Wherever that, I'm trying to be lazy and copy, and I'm going to have to click through 4 more times to get to the link.
You're easy. You just get a docs page.
That's where I was trying to go, but I didn't have it open still. So it's going the long way around to get to the docs page. Lazy.
You could have just typed it.
I could have, but I wasn't. I was going to get it wrong. I just know it. Type clipboard text. Local user groups. All right. So nothing there yet. Okay. And we'll hit refresh and see if we get anything. So now we're just waiting. We'll just hang tight. We may pause for a minute here.
It shouldn't take too long. But basically, while this is going through, what we're looking to achieve here is the ability to update that administrator group so you can have regional support where you have different offices with different support levels, different support contracts. You can delegate those permissions and privileges just to that group of people. My curiosity around this, though, Adam, is, say, for example, I'm traveling from the Sydney office to the Houston office, and I need to get support on my computer in the Houston office. How do I get that?
Oh, we have mechanisms for that as well. So for example, our help desk has, they have rights to all workstations, but they have less rights than their local support counterparts.
Okay.
But they have, there are a few shared service accounts that, there we go. So there it is. Local users and groups has applied. They've got an account that they can check out as needed from a vault to be able to get credentials, and it's got rights to all workstations. Nice. But we do have mechanisms around letting other additional folks get to machines as needed. Okay, so sorry, I way over scrolled there. Scroll happy. Okay. What I was trying to do was go in here under providers. So if I go back, it tells me it didn't actually finish it yet. It hasn't come down.
So it's still applying.
It says it's dirty.
Okay, dirty.
Let's see what we got. Find next. There it is. Look at that. Unable to parse the requested XML. Policy not complete. There you go. Able to parse XML. Okay, but here's our note. Cannot perform this operation on built-in accounts. So that's the one. So we know it at least attempted.
To administrator.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. We got the whole XML, and let's go see what that looks like. We'll just open it up in nice text editor here. All right. So as I mentioned, we can get the entire, or we can, you can see the whole XML here and how it happened. So, so that's interesting.
Well, you can see the XML where it's duplicated it there. So what it's saying is on group access, descending S1 to 153254, which obviously in this scenario is going to be the local administrator group. We're going to apply these policies. But what you'll see is it's doing 2 replacements, which isn't correct.
Right. And so this is the bug that I think I think it's a bug. It feels like it is. So ideally you would have you could do this with multiple groups, but everything for the same group should be in the same place. So this really should be moved up 1, I think, in which is why we built the policy the way we did. So this here is what's probably causing our issue. But I'm also going to remove the invalid entry as well, just for kicks. Okay,
let's do that.
Let's try again. All right, and I'm going to minimize that. But anyway, this is pretty cool because you can see the whole thing. You can very easily tell what it's writing down. And this is how we've confirmed that you needed to use a SID for the group, because we added the group by name and it still wrote it in the XML with the SID. So
exactly. So this is where you can, if you're needing to do manual all the way through, you could turn around and go do some automatic policy, send it out there with that group identified, copy the SID and put it into the manual.
Yeah. Or if you were going to, you didn't want to use this and you wanted to use the custom CSP option, you can just steal this whole XML and do that. Because this is exactly the XML that you would build and put into the custom CSP if you were going to build it manually anyway, using the local users and CSP.
We're all about reuse here.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was going to look into here was, it should tell us the winning provider. Okay. So then 43 is the one there. So we dig into the providers node and go to default device. When this applies successfully, we should get a node here that has the XML in it. And then there's a additional one. It's one of the ones that expands out. I don't think that's the one. Anyway, there's the one that's all the numerical registry keys that are all the policies broken out numerically. It writes it out into there as well.
Nice.
All right, so we're gonna hopefully this will actually succeed for us.
Did we get a sync?
Yeah, I did. Well, look, it did an error, and we got new XML that's limited.
Yep.
Okay, we got less things in our XML.
Local admin.
So that's our new XML that we got. And let's go check and see, did we get a new person without adding and remove the old person? Look at that.
Yep.
So that's it. Simple as that.
Go team.
So just a couple little nuances there, and we're there. But if I have a user, so let's say that I want to create this as my default local group policy or local group membership management policy, and everybody gets all these things exactly this way. If you need to do a delta on this, where you say, okay, I need to give Steve local admin on his machine, then you would need to duplicate the policy, and then you'd have to exclude Steve
local admin.
You'd have to make a Steve local admin group with his device in it. Don't put his user in there, because if you assign this to a user group, every device that person logs into, they would immediately become local administrator. And
probably it's not a good thing, because it's also processed as a device policy, not a user policy. So it's not processed when the user is signed in, but when the computer does a sync. So therefore, even if you sit there and go, I'm going to give Adam local admin because of this, it's not actually going to process it when he signs into the computer. It will process it when the computer does its sync. So therefore, your token when you sign into the computer is going to be you don't have admin privileges until you sign out and sign back in. And because you've then signed out and signed back in, it might not actually apply. So
I'll take your word for it. I don't know what all you just said, Steve.
Quirky.
No, it's a good point. Yes, it is quirky. Yes, it is a good point. But either way, target this to devices and be very specific about what you target to.
Yeah.
So point being, if you can't overlap the policies, and so if we were to target, we wanted to assign this to Steve, we would also we'd have to explicitly add it to a specific group. And honestly, I'm just randomly grabbing groups here. But so if I was to target to this group, then with this policy, we definitely would have to go to the other policy and add an exclusion there. So if you notice while we were talking there, I copied the exact policy and just added one more entry to it for Steve's account. But then we're going to, because otherwise whatever, they're not additive. You've got to do all the same things in all the policies that you want to deploy and target differently.
So if you're wanting to manage local admin for your staff via this, you're going to need to have a group per person to ensure that they only have access to their device. Alternatively, what you could do, and this is where it gets, is you could use filters.
Instead of groups?
Yeah, so what you could do is you filter it down to Adam can only apply this. It can only apply to this computer if Adam is the primary user, and then exclude, and then it's every computer that Adam has that he's a primary user of. He automatically gets local admin.
Yep. Yeah. So the way we're structuring it is, so we're basically going to have one policy for every AD site, and have that targeted to that site's a group of that site's devices, and then the member will include the administrator, the two global SIDs, our global administrators group, our AD global administrators group for our desktop team, and then that site's local administrators. So that's how we'll do it globally. And then let's say that a headquarters user needs to have permanent admin. And so Steve's my headquarters user. I'm going to put Steve's device in a group, and then I'm going to copy the headquarters policy and then add Steve to it, leave everything else there, and then target that one to Steve's group, and then exclude him from the headquarters group, and we're good. So that's kind of, well, I think it works. Giving it a go here.
It should work.
But anyway, I think the biggest thing was just understanding how to use those policies without getting frustrated by them, because I know we were challenged with like, what's going on. And then once we finally saw that, like, okay, if you're looking at the registry keys and the reg keys aren't showing up, well, that's a good indicator something didn't quite work right. Then you go look in the event viewer. All right, the event viewer is showing us that it failed. Okay, why did it fail? Let's go dig into that. And so, just kind of hopefully kind of picked up some things through that process, and you'll find this useful.
Definitely. Awesome.
Well, that's all we got.
Exactly. So let's wrap it up, and I'm sure we'll talk soon. Thanks everybody for watching.
All right, take it easy.